Welcome, everybody, to the Old Gold Show. With you, as always, I'm your host, co-manager over at hammerandrails.com, Andrew Ledman.
And I'm Casey. West Coast is best coast, Bartley. Boiler Upload Rivals Network. Just a writer,
Yeah,
kind of half
just
owner.
just a guy, just a guy.
Just a person. Just a
Uh,
guy.
as a
Word
former
wizard.
as a former East Coast resident, I have to
Mhm.
push back on the West Coast is best coast. I was out
Okay.
there for 12 years, loved
Yep.
it out there, great time. Just because Purdue was playing on the West Coast does not mean it's a better coast.
I disagree.
I mean,
Just
you're
just
okay.
because
It's
of that.
okay to be
Yeah.
wrong. It's okay to be wrong. But so Casey and I are coming to you Sunday night. We were recording this. Purdue played Oregon yesterday, as Casey said, out west. Game two of a two-game West Coast swing. Purdue wins 65 to 58 in just a brutal to watch game. Uh, just as my brother called it, as we were watching it together, just an absolute rock fight of a basketball game. No one really seemed to want to do anything. A lot of turnovers in kind of came in bunches after Purdue not having them for a while. A lot of missed shots, but Purdue did what it had to do. They made the shots that mattered. They did great at the free throw line, including one guy who I'm sure you're going to point out, and they did enough to win, come out of this West Coast swing 2-0. Casey, they've still only got one loss in the Big Ten, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Big Ten talk is in the second half. So, what did you think of this Purdue game against Oregon? Was this the statement victory they've been looking for?
Too much Bamba, not enough juice.
That that's what all the people are saying.
Everyone said it. Bamba juice
Yeah.
not there.
Nope.
I do think it's a statement because I think Purdue did what they've been doing on this 7 game win streak, which is dominate on the defensive end in the way that they can win. They go 2 of 12 from three. Once again,
Yeah.
abysmal shooting performance from three on the road at a very good Oregon team. On an Oregon team that has a 6'5, 220 TJ Bamba, as mentioned. Maybe one of the worst offensive games you're ever going to see from a player. I see his offensive rating here down at 41.
Oof.
That low, that very, very low. But absolute menace defending Smith, got away with a lot of physicality in
Oh
general.
yeah.
Oregon, it
It's
felt
a
like
big
got away.
physical game.
And that's the kind of game where everyone whines and say, oh, look, Purdue's kryptonite. It's
Yeah.
glowing green and Purdue's no longer Superman. And they ended up winning. Um, I know the score wasn't huge and it was back and forth, but it never felt like Oregon was really in control of the game, even in the first half. 1 point lead going into halftime.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly worried. I thought Purdue was getting better shots. I thought their defense was good. Biddle
Yeah. I mean,
played out of his mind.
yeah.
Six
I'm with you.
blocks.
I thought Purdue did not play a very good first half. As you said, they shot the ball poorly, but to go down to halftime only down one to me was really encouraging because when you play terrible basketball but still stick with the 13th ranked team in the nation, you got to look at that as a good sign, and you hope that water finds its level in the second half. Purdue will hit some shots, and they'll be able to pull it out. Now, that didn't really happen with the three-point shooting. They continued to shoot the ball poorly, but they made up for it, as you said, with very good defense on Oregon and just hit just enough shots to win the game.
Yeah, one of the things that's annoying that like games like this, the national media really hankers down and like pays attention, and then there's this narrative like, oh, Trey Kaufman-Rin was awesome. He did have 23 points.
He was
Obviously,
bad.
yeah, he 9 of 9 from free throw. Like, give him his due there because he had been shooting about 25% from three over the last 5 or 6
I,
games. That's
from the
only a
free throw line. From the free throw
small
line.
exaggeration, yeah, from the free throw line.
Yeah.
He didn't play well.
No.
If anything, those points and getting to the free throw line was 100% Braden Smith just setting him up
Time and time and time and
consistently
time
in
again.
good
So
spots.
many times.
And I thought TKR was stubborn inside. I said that on Twitter a few times during the game. Just got the ball to the basket, and he became that black hole that we kind of saw last year a little bit, where If the ball goes into him, he's shooting. Doesn't matter that Biddle had his number, that he didn't really have the space to get around the way he wanted, and his floater wasn't falling.
Not at all.
Now,
Yeah.
do you get credit? He rebounded really well. By far, one of the more active games he's had on the
Yeah.
glass, 6 offensive rebounds. But just in general, like play, not even top 10 this year of what Trey's done.
No.
Trey's been great on games where he hasn't scored 20. And it's just, there's a stat watch to it where they're like, oh,
Yeah,
23 points,
exactly.
11 rebound, double double.
Yeah.
I like double
Yeah.
doubles.
They just look and they see 23-11 and they're like, oh, wow, what a great game by Trey Kaufman-Renn. But yes, you put up the stats and that's great. And he obviously was a huge factor in Purdue winning this game. As you said, 9 of 9 at the free throw line, kind of salted it away there in the second half. But he didn't play great. And I don't really know that anyone on Purdue played a whole complete game as we've seen them play. I mean, Braden Smith had a lot of great passes, a lot of assists. He would have had a ton more if people could hit some shots, but when you look at the stat sheet, he only had 7. Probably, I don't know if you can look up assist opportunities. He probably had 15 to 20. They just
Right.
weren't falling.
Yeah, no, it was another one where it was kind of piecemeal put together because Caleb First was in foul trouble. I thought he did good things when he was on the floor. I thought Jakari was really good, and especially on the defensive end. There was a play that I wrote about after the game where he got screened, he got switched, but there was a lane and like it was obvious that the big man was going to get beat. And somehow Jakari just cuts through like 3 people and closes off a drive, forces a turnover. I thought he was really good. I thought Miles gave some good minutes. I think it's the fact that Purdue can just be good in small stretches, just get a little bit from a couple of these guys. Cam Heide had 9 points off the bench. I know a lot of it was free throws late, but a lot of those free throws was him attacking the offensive glass. I think he had a couple where he gets fouled right after getting an offensive rebound.
Yeah.
And even though Trey played poorly, like production still matters. So it's an effort thing, and that
Yes.
matters.
Yeah.
And Braden, I thought was phenomenal. I thought he gets 5 turnovers. 3 or 4 of them should have been a whistle the other way. Like I don't think a lot of those were bad decisions by him or mistakes, as much as there was just a level of physicality against a really tough defender. And he really didn't get the benefit of the doubt of much in the way of the whistle.
No,
But
not at all.
defensively, he was,
Four
I mean, he get
steals. Four steals.
steals, 9 steals in the last 2 games. He gets one to start off. I thought his attention to detail off the ball was better, which, if we talk about Ohio State in a little bit, will be needed because he's probably going to go up against maybe the best shooter in the Big Ten. But, it's just barely enough.
Great
Fletcher gets
Osabar,
the
the
one
best shooter
late.
in the Big Ten.
Right, right. The great one. But yeah, it's like CJ Cox doesn't make any mistakes again, even though he doesn't score, doesn't take a shot. You want him to take shots. I don't think, I think at some point the coaches literally have to talk to him and be like, it's not okay if you don't shoot.
Like you're out there for a reason.
Yeah, like it's not okay. And they
Well,
have been telling him that.
and I'm sure they have. It just for Purdue fans, it reminds us of what we had the last couple years with Ethan Morton, where he was doing good things, but
Yeah.
he was a non-factor on offense. Now, obviously, they're completely different players, but it gives you that same feeling of like if you're out there and you're not shooting, you're not doing the things on offense that really show up. Like we can't play 4-on-5 on one end of the court. So we obviously know what he's capable of. We saw him just go off for 20 plus points the other day. So I think he'll get there. I think it's just the unevenness of being a freshman is part of it.
Yeah, and the fact he is respected as a shooter means he's, more valuable offensively than even Ethan Morton. Like
Oh, sure.
the zeros aren't equal there because like
No.
part of what Oregon was doing was staying with shooters. I mean, Fletch goes 2 of 9 on the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Purdue goes 17 of 44 from inside the arc, 2 of 12 from three. Oregon's over 50% from inside the arc. It's interesting. You listen to Oregon's coach after the game, and he's just like, this was my fault as a coach because I didn't put players out there that were willing to run an offense and make plays and take good shots,
Okay.
which is a dig at your players while, not being Mick Cronin. So, like, good on him. But it, it's kind of interesting because that's usually not what Purdue does to teams. Before these last 7 games, generally offenses were getting good looks. They certainly weren't frustrated, but like
Yeah. No.
Purdue is frustrating offenses right now.
Yeah.
They're connected. They're forcing turnovers. They're showing hands. They're showing arms everywhere, and like nothing's easy. And that is a strange new existence for a Purdue defense that, once again, a month ago was not anywhere near this. And if that's going to travel on the road, I think Purdue has enough like bona fides on offense where more times than not they're going to score. Oregon did really well to hold them to what they did, but it still wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, looking at Purdue's defense, obviously Purdue was on a 7 game win streak. But even if you include the prior 2 games before that, which were both losses to Auburn and Texas A&M, so that's a 9 game stretch. The Purdue defense has allowed more than 70 points just one time
To
in
the
those
best
9 games.
offense of all time.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about of all time. Let's
At that time, they were the best offense of all time,
okay.
according
And
to
that would
Akin Pam.
and he's talking about Auburn. Obviously, Purdue lost 87-69 in that one, but Texas A&M they allowed 70, and then it's been 64, 61, 61, 50, 68, 58, 58.
Good juice.
I mean, it's a 7 game win streak. 6 of those are Big Ten games, and they have not allowed more than 68 in any of those Big Ten games. So it's been quite a turnaround for this Purdue defense that I think has just been rocketing up the Ken Palm defensive efficiency statistics from mid 40s or 50s to somewhere in the 20s now, I believe.
Oh no, they were up to like 75th.
Okay, so yeah, it was much
Big
worse.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they're in
So
the top 10 now at Ken Palm overall for teams.
wild,
Yeah.
wild. This the one question unrelated to Purdue, only, but you look at they just beat number 13. They previously beat Washington, not a ranked team, but still on the road in conference. Um, just this week, the following teams have lost: number 2, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 23.
That's a
Well, I mean,
lot.
what do you think this does for Purdue come Monday when new rankings come out?
Well, so far you're seeing rankings from some of the guys that are around nationally, and it's right in the 11 to 12 range. I would
Yeah,
imagine somewhere between 10 and 12. Um, I I don't know how you argue they're not a top 10 team right now. I get the 4 losses way heavy, but like those
yeah.
are all good, like
Good
not bad
losses.
losses. Yeah. So the way they're playing, which I think is what polls are supposed to be, how they're playing.
It
I don't think
should
it's
be.
resume
Yeah.
yet, right? So like
No.
there's not 10 teams in the country playing better than them. There's just not. Um, they've been blowing out bad to good teams and winning handily on the road. Like
Yeah.
we're supposed to care about that. Road wins.
Right.
They're hard.
Yeah. I mean, they harp on that all the time.
Yeah.
Road wins are so important. Road wins are how you get your seating better. Road wins are how you win your conference, which in essence, makes your seating better come March time. So if Purdue goes on the road twice in a week, wins both of them, that should make a difference to the voters who will see tomorrow afternoon where Purdue lands. But anything else about this game against Oregon you want to chat about before we take a break and look at the wider Big Ten?
No, probably I definitely think Jakari's coming on in a way that's
Yeah.
good. Um, Raleigh did pretty well in the first half and having to fill in
Those
for Kalen
threes were very
Furst.
bad. Those threes were very bad.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. We're
He's an okay shooter though, so I'm okay with him taking, maybe one a game, but you gotta like feel it out. So there
as
was something off with
someone,
both of those.
as someone who is something of a shooter himself,
As
okay?
a co-rec hero,
As a co-rec legend, when I shoot an air ball, it's because I took a shot I'm not prepared to take. So the issue is not that he's taking them. It's just when you take them and miss them that bad, you were clearly not ready to shoot in some capacity. So maybe
sure.
hold it in check or get ready. Be
Yeah.
ready.
If
Be
you're
ready.
always ready, you don't have to get ready.
If yeah, exactly.
You know?
So
It's what
like
they
do
say.
that. Do
The
that.
the only thing I remembered that I wanted to ask you about that really bothered me during this game,
Is it
it
another
was the
correct question?
no correct questions. I will yield to your expertise
Okay.
there. Uh, what did you think of the foul on Oregon where Colvin was going up for the dunk, the layup, and
Oh,
more or less just got
undercut.
pushed in the back? And
Undercut.
I was just, I mean, they go to the review for like three different times in this game about elbows and was it too high, and like this dude pushed him in the back as he's up in the air going for a layup or a dunk, and they only called it a common foul. Like that's how people get hurt, man. Like that should not be part of the game.
Let's bring it back to the correct. Okay.
Love
We're
it.
back at the correct. I got Miles Colvin on my team. I got Skyer, just a sky flyer on my team. He goes up and some jabron, just some jabroni comes cuts his legs off like that. That guy's getting one of these right in the
Oh
throat,
yeah.
like just like instant.
I I thought you were signaling for an intentional foul. I was
For
like
injury,
the
injury.
X.
Yeah,
Yeah, injury.
no,
Yeah,
he's
it's a
getting one. He's
WWE
getting one of these
injury.
little quick jab
Yeah.
right in the throat. Like if what I said on Twitter, if a foul would have started a fight in a pickup game, it's a flagrant.
I think
And
they
that
should
would have
change the
started a
rule.
fight. Yeah.
Just simplify the rule book.
Yeah.
Look, if it would have started a fight in a pickup game, flagrant.
Flagrant. And that would,
Yeah,
yeah, like that's not a basketball play.
not at
Like,
all.
and like you said, it's just dangerous. It's not good for
Mhm.
anyone. So yeah, that should have been a second flagrant. I didn't think the last called flagrant was really a flagrant.
I mean, I
If
think,
that's a flagrant, look, Zach Edey should have had 40 of them.
well, right. It
So are
is
you going to
just
be
so
every other
difficult.
fan base? Is that where you're going to be, Ledman?
Oh,
You're going to be
no,
a hypocrite?
hey,
Okay.
I mean, of course, I'm a hypocrite. I'm a sports fan. That's what we are. I'm just saying, like,
Also, also everyone, if you watch college basketball today, I have something to tell everyone. Okay, get close. We haven't done this for a while. Get real close. Zach Edey wasn't the problem, folks. Zach Edey did not break college basketball officiating.
oh, no, college basketball officiating is
College
bad.
basketball officiating sucks. I don't care who you have on the floor.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
bad.
bad. It is unbearable. End of games. Like,
So
if
inconsistent.
anything, the fact Purdue hasn't had a one possession game, so we haven't had to waste 14 hours to replay
Yeah.
every decision.
What I mean,
Oh,
even the game against Oregon took a long time because they did go to
yeah.
the review for like three times, but
Yeah.
they really do like. I
Mm-mm.
don't care who does it. I don't care if the conferences each do it on their own or if the NCAA comes in, but like they
Yeah.
got to figure
Yeah,
this
they'll do
out.
it.
Well, sure, I know.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it would
Eh,
take a miracle for the NCAA to do
Trump can
something,
fix
but
it.
I'm not going to comment on that. Let's take a break, come right back, and look around the Big Ten because Casey has opinions. And we are back. So we are going to look around the Big Ten. Casey, as I said before the break, has opinions. He texted one of those opinions to me. Do you just want me to lay it out what you said? Okay. Casey texted me earlier today and said Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten right now.
And
I,
also going forward.
yeah, sure. I want to hear your explanation. I want to hear you defend it. I'm just giving you the floor.
I mean, if you're talking about just pure product on the court, there's no arguing since the clock turned to 2025. Purdue's been the best team in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I have now seen Michigan State's guards play. Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten. I've seen Illinois' team make decisions on the basketball floor. Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten. The one argument, I suppose, you could say Michigan, but I've also seen Michigan's guards play. Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten. They are by far the deepest with quality. I think they have Illinois probably has the best guards overall. Hard to argue with the top five pick in Boswell. But I also think Boswell, the more he has to do, as seen today, while Illinois' starting point guard played all of 8 minutes
Oof,
because of foul trouble.
that is wild.
Why? Um, Boswell is out of control, crazy, can't create an offense. And if they don't have their leader on the floor, that is a team that just absolutely melts down. I did not. I think sometimes you watch two teams that play quickly and you think, oh, this is good. Because like stuff's happening a lot and it gets your heartbeat going and you're excited and the ball bounces back and forth. But that was not good basketball on either end. Michigan State cannot shoot. Not
They
only,
haven't been able to shoot for years. I don't know what's going on there.
yeah, so not only are their bigs or their guards one dimensional, great athletes, great in transition. If they get out on you, you're gonna lose because they're much faster than you. But their bigs are terrible. Um, Trey Kaufman ran one on one against Kohler or whoever the hell else they put in there. He is going to put up buckets. Braden Smith is going to toy with them in the pick and roll. I don't think that's a problem matchup. Like I am predicting a Purdue go into Michigan State and win by 7 on the road.
That would be bold.
I just I don't see them as a problematic matchup for Purdue.
That's
Um,
wild.
and I don't trust Michigan. They do so much through their bigs, and like he's really good, but the guards aren't there consistent. The ball moves around well. I think they're good, but like they're also not that proven. They haven't beat a bunch of teams. They haven't put in those men. That is a team that got glued together this year. Like there's no
Or,
continuity.
uh,
Continuity. That's the
you
word.
mean
There are
continuity?
extra
There
letters.
you
Yeah,
go.
there are extra
Uh,
letters in there.
yes. Yeah. Dylan Burkhardt, guy who writes about Michigan hoops, you can find him
Hmm.
on Twitter at UM Hoops. Uh,
UM.
put up the Big Ten efficiency margin stats through this weekend, and he wrote one note to go along with the list. Michigan and Michigan State have played the easiest schedules in the conference up to
Huh.
this point. So that includes the games they played today. Um,
Huh.
so if you look at offensive efficiency, he's got Michigan State at 118.9, Purdue just below them at 116. And then defensive efficiency, Michigan State 95.9, Purdue 96.5. So even with a more difficult schedule, Purdue and Michigan State just about even there. So I think that says a lot to your point about Purdue being maybe the better team overall.
Yeah, it's going to be a good matchup. I think Purdue matches up the worst with Illinois because those guards get into you so much. They're big. They can shoot outside. Like Illinois is the team probably with the highest ceiling, even over Purdue. But just if you're talking winning the conference and trusting in a team, Illinois has proven pretty handedly they're not to be trusted.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, they've had the issue for me is I mean, Michigan State still doesn't have a loss in the Big Ten, 7-0. And I know I just pointed out they've had a very easy schedule in the conference, but you know, sometimes teams win all their easy games, and that can be enough to
sure.
stay at the top of the conference because somebody's going to make a mistake and lose one of their easy games. Um, but Purdue only plays Michigan State once. They go into East Lansing. They've got to play Michigan twice. Purdue plays Michigan twice. And then Purdue ends the season with Illinois. And
On the
that is
road.
going to be a tough game, as you said. So if Purdue needs that one to win the Big Ten, that's going to be a tough one to win. So you got to hope they can build a cushion before they get to that last game at Illinois.
Yeah, I mean Illinois they're 5-3 now. Three
Yeah.
losses. That's going to be tough for them to recover. It certainly feels like a three-team race right now. In theory, Wisconsin's hanging around there, 5-2 in the conference. Their offense has been good this year, but once again, hard to trust that team.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's hard not to feel good about Purdue right now. You want to malign their backcourt, which is, I guess, just what people say because they've been saying it for 3 years.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer have the most wins in the conference in the last 3 seasons. I know that because they've won the conference the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Fletcher Lawyer and Braden Smith have never not won the Big Ten by 3 games.
I mean, they
Never.
also made it all the way to the national championship game last year.
Well, right, but then they completely collapsed this year because it was all Zach Edey, right?
Right. It was all Zach Edey. Yeah. Yeah.
They
And
haven't.
that's why they're not ranked this year and are nowhere near the top of
Right.
the conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd forgotten. I'd forgotten.
But I just watched those teams, and particularly the Michigan State Illinois game. The lack of consistent execution stands in such stark contrast to the controlled, beautiful mechanism of PJ Thompson's offense under the command of Braden Smith, and just in general how Purdue plays. They don't waste possessions, and just give me that. I'll
Yeah.
take that bet. I'll take the best player in the conference with the best offense, with the best coaching staff, with the team that wins. And
Well,
I'll just take that money.
and I mean, even as you've talked about the offense there, as we mentioned before the break,
Yeah.
the defense has just gotten better and better and better as they've moved into conference play. And if the defense can rise up to where the offense is, I mean, that's going to be a problem for everybody in the rest of the Big Ten.
Yeah, and I mean it's not far off now. Like
No.
they've been playing incredible, and nothing about it's gimmicky. It's just playing smart, determined. They don't have negative defenders in the way that we're used to seeing from Purdue.
Yeah.
Like at all times, there's like 3.5 to 4 good defenders on the floor.
Yeah, which that Purdue does. Where you have to be so crisp on that offense that sometimes it can take all your mental energy, your physical energy, because you are moving so much, and then suddenly you're on defense again. But you got to really lock in, and Purdue has done that over the last 7 games.
Yeah, and like Michigan State, they won that game because Illinois' offense just became a train wreck. And it allowed Michigan State to get long rebounds, to get into transition. You're not going to get a whole bunch of that with Purdue. They're going to get good shots. They're going to score. They're going to be efficient. And you're going to have to play offense in the half court. That's why Purdue's pace of play is so much different than almost everyone else in the conference. And it's part of why they work.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, Purdue's next 3 games are all at home. So we get a bit of a breather for the Boilermakers in Mackey Arena. They've got versus Ohio State on Tuesday, then versus Michigan, who are currently number 20. That'll obviously change on Monday. And then on January 31st, Purdue versus Indiana. So 3 big games there in conference play. Casey, I know you predicted a 6-game win streak going into the Oregon game. What are you thinking about these next 3 games? Any one of the 3 you're particularly scared of or worried about or think will be the biggest challenge, I should say?
I mean, it's obviously Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, IU's not a good basketball team.
And they have drama.
They are drama.
Yes,
They
for
are
sure.
drama. Yeah, because I was worried at that. I thought the too big thing might be a problem for Purdue early in the season. The too big thing is a problem for IU.
Yes, very big problem.
So they're their own problem. Um, Ohio State's lost 3 in a row. They come into Purdue a bit of a wounded team.
Yeah.
Metrics
That's always a
still
little bit
love them.
scary.
Yeah, metrics still love them. They played well against Purdue last year. Brucey Thornton is very good at basketball, very strong
Mhm.
guard. But I think Purdue's better handled to deal with that this year. I I can't imagine like there's an energy when Purdue's been away from Mackey for a little while. It
Right.
feels like
Yeah.
Purdue's been away from Mackey for a little while. It's going to be like 9 days. So it's hard to imagine that going away. And then Purdue hasn't had a big in Mackey game in a while either. There
Yeah,
wasn't a
that's true.
ton of marquee games at home last year. It was really earlier in the season, like Marquette and stuff. So like they're gonna get up for a Friday night game with Michigan, and then a week later another. They're gonna have a week off. Finally, Purdue's gonna get a week off of rest,
Yeah.
and then get IU at home on another Friday night. I I think we're talking 10 game win streak.
I mean that would put Purdue 10-1 in conference play at the end of the month of January. So I mean that would be a hell of a way to begin the conference season 10-1. I mean at that point you're looking at you maybe need to win 5 games to win the conference, or at least get a
Right.
share of it, because you got to think 15-5, 16-4 at most is probably going to win this conference, but uh,
Michigan State
to begin,
goes to Rutgers on Saturday.
what do you think? What for those listening on the podcast, Casey's giving me a shrug emoji.
Rutgers playing pretty good basketball right now.
Yeah, that is true.
Rutgers got a pretty good guard, pretty good wing. I'm just saying it's on the road. Rutgers probably due for a big home win.
Couple, yeah, that would be good. That would be good. So, Casey, anything else on the Big Ten before we head out for the evening?
If we haven't been clear enough already, Purdue is the best team in the Big Ten.
There you go.
And
And
if you're
there's
listening to
nothing else to
this
say.
and you don't believe that, why is a non-Purdue fan watching this podcast? Thanks for having. We're glad to have you. Thanks for being
Sure,
here. Just don't know why you're here.
but if it's
We're
not
not
Purdue, if
we're
if
not going to
if
be
you don't if you're listening to this
Mhm,
podcast or
mhm.
watching it on YouTube and you
Comment
don't
down below.
think, yeah, exactly. Comment and tell us who you think is the better team in the Big Ten than Purdue right now. Would love to
'Cause
hear it.
I don't want to be negative about the Big Ten, but the Big Ten makes me be negative about it.
Feel like you do this every year.
Mhm. I'm usually
Dumping
right.
on the Big Ten every year. Yeah. Well, you're
Usually
right
right.
most times. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So there you go, folks. That's going to do it for us. Let us know who the best team in the Big Ten is if it's not Purdue.